All right, so who's ready for another week of picks that you can take to Vegas and make some money off of? Well, if you want to make some real money, go watch somebody else. I'm kidding. I guess it kind of depends on how you're betting. But anyways, week 2 was kind of a mixed bag. Only 8-8 against the spread, but 11-5 for picking straight up winners. So 2 weeks in to this season, I'm 23-8 picking the winners and 13 against the spread. So winning records in both. Pretty good with picking the straight up winners and losers. Let's see how week 3 goes. And week 3 got off to its start Thursday night. You had the Rams traveling into Santa Clara to take on the San Francisco 49ers. Kind of weird how that all works out in the Field of Dreams in front of a mostly empty stadium, which is a shame because this was easily one of the best games of the entire season. Now, heading in, a lot of people were picking the Rams to win and so on and so forth. I went in a different direction. I'm like, the 49ers won 2 games last year. Both were against the Rams. It's a home game. There should be some type of home field advantage. Foolish me. Mistake. Lesson learned. I'm like Kyle Shanahan's. Got to get a first win at some point in time. Here would be a good spot for it to come on Thursday night on a short week to prepare for both teams. Mixed bag. Niners didn't win. This became a freaking offensive display. It's crazy. 41-39 is the final. But the 49ers did cover the 3-point spread. How about that? Huh? So anyways, picked the wrong team to win, but got the spread right. That is just kind of how it goes. So let's see how the rest of this upcoming weekend, the week 3 picks go for me. And as always, you're welcome to pick against me in the comment section below. Give me your results for how your picks have gone so far this year. Let's get at it. You've got Sunday morning, I think it's 9:30 a.m. Eastern, the London game, which means we even get more football. More mostly bad football. Hooray! But it's the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And you would say in theory that the Jaguars have some type of advantage here because they play at least one London game every single year. So they're used to the travel. They're used to the demands of the week of being in London, the PR that comes along with it, and so on and so forth. They should be more familiar there. They should be more comfortable there. In theory, they should have more fans there, so there'd be a little bit of a home field advantage perhaps for them. And that's not necessarily a bad thought here. The Ravens are coming in, starting off 2-0. Granted, their 2 dominant victories, especially defensively, came against the Bengals in week 1 and then the Browns in week 2, starting a rookie quarterback in Deshaun Kaiser with limited weapons on the offensive side of the ball. How did you really think that was going to go, I guess? So it's hard to know exactly how good the Ravens are or the Ravens aren't. We think we have an idea, but we're not really sure. Similar with the Jaguars. I think we kind of have an idea that Doug Marrone is allergic to throwing the football, and if you have Blake Bortles as your starting quarterback, you would be too. But you have a young, athletic, intriguing defense for the Jaguars that almost feels like they're playoff caliber. Are they? We don't know yet. We'll find out. But heading into this game, Baltimore is favored by 3. I'll take the Ravens minus the 3 here to win. Even though the Jaguars have more experience and so on and so forth, I'll take the Ravens minus the 3. Transitioning over to the 1 o'clock Eastern start times on Sunday, Denver travels to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Denver coming off of that great, impressive home victory week 2 against the Cowboys. The lightning storm didn't stop them. It only made them stronger. The Broncos defense through 2 weeks looks pretty damn good, and Trevor Siemian has been all right, and that Broncos offense has been all right under first-year head coach Vance Joseph. Look at the Buffalo Bills. Tough loss last week on the road against Carolina, a game that they were competitive throughout. Their defense stepped up and played really well. Their offense couldn't do shit, but still had a chance to win late, and if Tyrod Taylor doesn't throw a bad pass and Zay Jones doesn't fail to pull in said bad pass, the Bills could have won that game. Covered the spread, though. I look at this matchup, and so many things scream out Denver. But sometimes when you get up for a big opponent at home like the Cowboys, then the next week you have to literally travel almost all the way across the country to face a team like the Bills that are 1-1, and you probably don't take that seriously. You know, these are trap games. These are danger games. And I look at this as a peak opportunity for the Bills to surprise some people and win a game that they really don't have any business winning. So I guess I would say my upset special of the week that you can come back on here Sunday afternoon and mock me for after the game is over is I know it's Denver minus the 3, but give me the Bills plus the 3 and give me the Bills to win. How about them apples? Just saying. Pittsburgh travels to Chicago to take on the Wolf Hole and 2 Bears. The Steelers at 2-0 coming to this game. You've got Big Ben, you've got Antonio Brown, you've got Le'Veon Bell, now you've got Martavis Bryant back in the fold. You've got a defense that looks a little bit better. For all intents and purposes, the Steelers should steamroll the Bears here. This should be a 20-plus point victory. It should be. But these are the games historically that the Mike Tomlin-led teams have really struggled with. You Steelers fans know exactly what I'm talking about. Over the years when they've been on the road and they've lost to teams like the Buccaneers, they've lost to teams like the Jets and the Raiders when all those teams were really, really bad. Well, the Bears are really, really bad. And you're coming into Soldier Field where the Bears played the Falcons incredibly tough in week number 1. This is one of those danger games for the Steelers. These are the type of games that end up costing them home field advantage throughout the playoffs come the end of the season or a first-round bye because they screw the pooch and lose them. Pittsburgh's favored by 8, but warning, warning. It's not that much of a foregone conclusion that they're just going to wipe the floor with these guys because we know the career splits with Big Ben at home versus on the road. He's an entirely different player at times. So just a caution. We can't just assume this is a 20-point blowout. For all we know, this could come down to a field goal late. With that said, the Steelers are in a vastly different, superior league to the Chicago Bears. And even if they don't take this team seriously, even if they don't play that well, they should still be able to beat them by double-digit points. So give me Pittsburgh minus the 8. Atlanta travels to Detroit, it looks like, without Courtney Upshaw, without Vic Beasley, without Ryan Schrader on their offensive line. Detroit is 2-point underdogs at home, and they're 2-0. I know Atlanta had an impressive victory at home against the Packers, but it's a Packers team to match up well against. They were opening up the new stadium. Now they got to go on the road. And remember, week 1, they played like crap, frankly, for a lot of the game in Soldier Field against a much worse Bears team. I'm going to take the Lions plus the 2 and give me the Lions to win. One of the real compelling matchups here, because you would think in theory, unless it ends in a tie, which is always possible, one of these teams has to win. The 0-2 Browns with Deshaun Kaiser traveling to Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Stadium, to take on Jacoby Brissett and the 0-2 Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are favored by half a point here, and that's probably only because they're playing at home, even though how much of a home court advantage or home field advantage is that really going to be? This game could either be really, really brutally bad or similar to the Rams and 49ers, could end up being one of the best, most competitive, interestingly played games all week, if not all season. I actually have my eyes on this one. I want to see what happens. Who's going to win? Who's going to continue their march towards the number 1 overall pick? I'm going to take the Colts minus the half point. We'll see what happens. Tampa Bay travels to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. The Bucks played really well at home in their season debut last week against the Bears, but again, it was the Bears. The Vikings, without Sam Bradford, struggled mightily offensively against the Steelers. And for all of you Sam Bradford nut huggers, this is part of the reason why it's hard to really get behind Sam Bradford. He looked really good week 1, yes, against a horrible-ass Saints defense, and in particular, a boo-boo-ass Saints secondary. And then 1 week later, he's not playing because his knee is freaking swelling up. So my pick for this game is very simple. If Sam Bradford plays, give me Minnesota minus the 1. If Sam Bradford does not play and it's Case Keenum, give me Tampa Bay plus the 1 and to win. All right, simple enough. So that way I don't have to go on Twitter Sunday morning and change it because I can't really change it. So I'm just letting you know that's the pick. Minnesota has Sam Bradford. I pick them minus the 1. If not, give me Tampa Bay plus the 1. Houston travels to New England to take on the Patriots. And I think for all intents and purposes, most people would assume that the Patriots go to 2-1 here, and Deshaun Watson's going to be overmatched against that defense, but that might be a little bit of a simplification of this matchup. With that said, if I remember last year, week 3, the Patriots handled the Texans pretty mightily. They've got a 15-point spread here. 15 points. That seems a bit strong because the Texans do have a really good defense, and the Patriots' defense, especially in the secondary, is vulnerable. Bill O'Brien needs to adjust to his quarterback instead of trying to get the quarterback to adjust to him. Obviously, I think New England's going to win, but give me the Houston Texans plus the 15. That margin is awfully massive. The Dolphins behind Jay Cutler travel to the Jets to take on Josh McCown. Oh my God, it's the Tressman Bowl. Miami's favored -7. Give me Miami to win, but give me the Jets to cover plus the 7. The Giants travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. I'm not surprised to see the Eagles are favored here. I am surprised to see they're favored by 7. But if you've watched these teams the first 2 weeks, you can see the Giants have a defense that's legit and an offense that's shit. And in fact, so many other things about the Giants' offense are so bad that it takes away from the fact that Eli Manning is terrible. Because he is. And stop arguing like he's not. He's terrible and you freaking know it. But at this point in time, it really doesn't matter if he's terrible or not because they can't run the ball. They can't pass protect. The lack of originality and creativity of the offense behind this so-called guru, Ben McAdoo, is striking. I fully expect Philly to win here and the Giants to go to 0-3, but 7 points is a lot, so give me the Giants to cover the spread plus the 7. New Orleans travels to Carolina to take on the Panthers. A lot of people might assume this is going to be a high-scoring affair. It may very well end up being a lower-scoring affair because that Panthers offense looked like crap in week 2 against the Bills, and now you're without Greg Olsen with that broken foot for 6 to 8 weeks. Where is that loss of production going to be covered from? Is it going to be McCaffrey? Is it going to be Curtis Samuel? Is it going to be Funchess having a bigger game? I still think Carolina is going to win at home and go to 3-0. They'll beat the Saints, but I will pick the Saints to cover the spread plus the 5.5. Seattle in the late Sunday games. The first one, you got Seattle traveling to Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Titans are favored by 2.5. The Seahawks haven't looked very good, but I do think they win this game, so give me Seattle plus the 2.5. Cincinnati travels to Green Bay to take on the Packers. The Green Bay Packers are favored minus the 10, which I think is more of a reflection of how people are going to anticipate the Bengals will play in week 3 with a new offensive coordinator and how they've played so far offensively the first 2 weeks as opposed to the Packers and how they've looked, especially last week. Green Bay's favored minus the 10. I'm picking the Packers to win, but give me the Cincinnati Bengals to cover plus the 10. KC travels to Los Angeles to the soccer stadium, to StubHub, whatever the fuck, to take on the Chargers. I was really stunned to see that the Chiefs are only favored by 3 with 2 good victories against good teams like the Eagles and then obviously week 1, that Thursday night matchup against the Patriots. They're only favored by 3 against a divisional rival that's 0-2. And granted, I understand the Chargers have played 2 close games and it's come down to field goals. But it's not like they have a massively built-in home field advantage. And the Chiefs, to me, are just a superior team. Give me the Chiefs minus the 3. Because even if it's a field goal difference, they still cover. Sunday night, you've got the Raiders traveling to Washington to take on the Redskins. Oakland's favored by 3. Give me Oakland minus the 3. Monday night, you've got the Cowboys smarting off of that week 2 blowout loss on the road. Now they got to go back on the road again to face off against Carson Palmer, Larry Fitzgerald, and the Arizona Cardinals. The loss of David Johnson was big and significant to that offense. John Brown's out again. J.J. Nelson's filled in nicely, but there's just something missing there for the Cardinals. And even you look at week 2, I mean, they struggled to beat the Colts in Indianapolis, and it took until overtime. They won 16-13. Give me Dallas minus the 3. You got to be kidding me. I can't see how the Cardinals are going to win that game. But those are my picks for this week. I expect Zeke to eat a little bit more. Let me know what you've got. Let me know if you think I'm crazy or nuts with some of my picks. I guess we'll find out in a couple of days how right or wrong I was.